Every single newspaper has Amanda's picture on it, big, huge headlines with lots of exclamation points.
From the second we walked out that door, cameras in the face, and I can only imagine what that felt like. Now you're back in this place, and immediately you're back in it. It's unrelenting.
That was Amanda Knox in the powerful new Hulu documentary, Mouth of the Wolf. Amanda Knox returns to Italy. The film follows an emotionally charged journey back to Italy, Amanda's first return since her 2015 exoneration, where she confronts past trauma, ongoing public scrutiny, and even a face-to-face meeting with the prosecutor who once put her behind bars. Shot over 5 years, the documentary offers an intimate look at what it takes to reclaim one's story in the public eye. And joining us to talk about it are the two people at the very heart of this project, Amanda Knox and her husband, writer and director, Christopher Robinson. Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I watched it last night. Wow, powerful is all I can say. Beautiful, beautiful work.
Thank you.
Chris, I want to start with you. A 5-year project this was, and you call the documentary a love letter to Amanda, which I love. Explain.
I had fallen in love with this woman, and it was baffling to me that people could hate her, that they hated this idea of her. And so I think a big part of what I wanted to do with Mouth of the Wolf was just reveal who Amanda was through my eyes. And that's why it was important to me that the entry point into this documentary wasn't the case. It wasn't the long history. It was just Amanda, the singer, the dancer, the person who would joke with me in the kitchen, the woman who became the mother of my children, that Amanda. And I really hope that what people take away from this isn't just the inspiring person she's become in relation to all of this trauma, but also the full, complex, rounded human being that she is.
I will say that when he did pick up the camera, he wasn't actually sure what he was doing. I just suddenly in 2018 had been, or 2019, I'm sorry, had been invited to return to Italy by the Italy Innocence Project. And so suddenly I was faced with oh my gosh, this thing that I have always thought about, but always thought was impossible, is presenting itself as an opportunity. What do I do with that? And I was grappling with a tension of this deep desire to return and find closure, but also deep fears, and so there was this tension. And I think Chris, as a natural storyteller, just immediately felt, I need to document this. I don't exactly know where it's going.
Yeah, what we're gonna do with this, but
if anything. But I need to.
Something momentous was happening. I could sense,
And you were just talking about how hard it was to make the decision to go, because you had so many friends and family that were telling you, please don't go back to Italy. You even mentioned in the documentary your stepfather was concerned that maybe they were going to trick you.
Even parts of myself, deep parts of myself were really conflicted. And I think it kind of goes back to that innate instinct that we all have to avoid conflict, right? Why put ourselves in a position that's going to be one where I know that I'm going to face something that's adversarial and hostile? Why put myself through that, especially as a person who has been harmed? Well, I was, a deep part of me was afraid, and also thought, what's the point? They're not going to listen to me. They never did. But also a deep part of me felt like I wanted to reestablish connection, something that was stolen from me in Italy was that feeling of human connection. I was isolated from humanity. I was thrown into a prison cell, and I was defined a monster. And I really wanted to go back and confront this country and this people and represent myself as the human being I am, and to try to embrace their humanity and the humanity of my prosecutor as well.
In 2011, you left Italy with cries of shame, shame, shame. Did you think this time around you were going to get a different result with how you were perceived?
Well, it didn't look good, I'll say. Like, you know, I had every reason to be worried, right? Like, even after I had gotten home, I came home from prison, and the trial was ongoing. Like, I was reconvicted again, and then I was finally exonerated, but that didn't stop people from believing that it was all some big conspiracy. And so there was a lot of, like, really, like, hateful energy coming from that place towards me. And I knew that that hatred was aimed at an idea of me that didn't exist. And so a deep part of me remained hopeful that if somehow my humanity could, like, peek out from behind that, like, dark shadow that had been cast over me, there was hope. But I didn't know. And up to the moment of, like, standing in front of all of those people to tell my story, I had no idea if anyone was going to listen to me, but I knew that I had to try.
I think you having the courage to do it,
Absolutely.
to go all the way back there and stand up in front of them and speak to them in Italian, was a big reason why they listened to you. And it was in that speech that she made an overture. She extended an olive branch to her prosecutor in front of all of Italy. And that's what led him to finally respond to her letters and enabled this face-to-face meeting to take place.
Yeah, and Amanda, closure is a neat little word that rarely covers everything, but you finally had that conversation that we were just discussing with the prosecutor who put you in prison. What did that conversation bring you? Was it closure?
You know, when I came home, I was really haunted by the why question. Just, why did this happen to me, right? Like, this wasn't a natural disaster, you know, too bad, sometimes bad things happen. This was man-made. This was manufactured injustice. And I didn't understand why. But I also deeply intuited that nobody who took part in this, except maybe the person who murdered my roommate, was intentionally trying to hurt any innocent people. Like, I didn't believe that my prosecutor was going into court every day believing he was throwing an innocent girl in jail. So I wanted to understand how was it possible that he could believe that I deserved that. And I wanted to know if I could somehow confront him outside of this very adversarial and defensive and hostile scenario, which was the criminal justice system, if there was an opportunity of understanding. And so when I approached that scenario, I really did want so much from him. I wanted everything from him. I wanted him to say he was sorry and he was wrong and shout it from the rooftops. And I didn't get exactly that. But I was surprised by what I did get, first of all. And also I was surprised, most of all, by how much I had to give. Like, I didn't realize that there was so much that I had inside of me that was valuable and worthwhile that I was able to present to him, and how powerful that made me feel. It really turned the tables. And so in a sense, that closure was through a shift in perspective. Like, suddenly I didn't need him to be okay anymore. And that relationship with myself and with him and with the world completely changed everything, even though it didn't change the story.
I have never seen her look more powerful than when she walked out of that first meeting with him.
Definitely.
She was beaming, you know? She was unstoppable.
And I want to end too with how you ended the documentary, which was just so powerful, in my opinion. Who is Amanda Knox? So what would your answer be now?
Well, it's through his eyes, so I'm going to let you answer that.
Oh, I like it.
She's a mom. She's the best mom. She's a comedian. She's a singer. Some of her original songs are in this documentary.
Which your voice is unreal. You know. That was such a surprise. I'm like, what?
You know, she's an athlete. She's someone who likes to play. And she's all of those fun, silly, goofy things. And she's also a fierce advocate for the truth and for justice. And I just love that she can contain multitudes like that. And
well, I love your love, and I'm proud of you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, Mouth of the Wolf is now out on Hulu.